Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Reggie Watts, and you're listening to Noise11.com.
Sunshine on my baby, out on the phone. Sometimes love shines like never before.
And we welcome Reggie Watts into Noise11.com, and welcome back to Australia.
Thank you.
You really know the language of the people and the places here. I noticed because I saw your gig last night, and you know the difference between a biscuit and a cookie.
Yeah, well, I love words, so whenever I visit someplace, I'm immediately fascinated with like what are the differences, what do people call this, and what's this, and I can't help it.
Yeah, because I think in particular Australia has so many different words for similar things that you would find in the USA or across Europe.
Yeah, it's kind of a hybrid. It's somewhere between the UK, or for me living in the United States, it's somewhere between the United States and the UK. Mm-hmm. So like some things are like you say jumper, we say sweater, but sometimes you say sweater and sometimes you say pants, and you don't necessarily say trousers as much. Yeah, and so there's like a weird like. Some things are kind of like what I'm used to, but not. But then it's awesome. It's cool.
I find if I'm in America, I have to translate into America, and you know going to the back of the car, and it's I have to get something out of the trunk.
Yeah, totally. Yes, I know. It's so weird. You're like boot. Yeah. Trunk. Yeah. Trunk. But
so you've got a distorted speech, haven't you? Sort of as you translate in your head, and you're translating English to English.
Yes, I know. Different forms of English. But do you say hood or do you say bonnet? You say hood.
No, we say we say bonnet. It's on
you do say bonnet.
Yeah,
okay.
It's occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that one's sort of breaking down a bit.
What about lift?
You're getting the lift. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because America is elevator, isn't it? It's always an elevator.
Elevator, yeah. Which I guess, I don't know, they're both accurate. The elevator is definitely a little bit more elaborate. Yeah. It elevates one. Yeah. But it also descends. So.
And there's certain words that have completely different meanings, like thong, you know?
Yeah, what is the difference? Oh, that's the
we
slipper,
wear it, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So that's a thong.
Thong is footwear in Australia.
That's right. Yeah, thongs. That's right. And do they say thongs in the like the Polynesians? Do they say thong? And Hawaii? Oh, Hawaii they say slippers.
Do they?
They call thongs slippers.
Yeah.
We call what do we call them? They're not slippers. We call them sandals. I think. But there's a specific name. I can't even think of it right now. Yeah. But yeah. Anyways.
One of the things that I really loved about your show last night is how much of a music fan you are. You delve into so many different genres in what you do over the course of that hour or so.
Yeah, I really, 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 really love music. So to me, I like anything that's good is my rule. So that's any style, any artist, wherever they come from, as long as it hits me and I'm like, oh, that sounds sincere and there's something there, some magic there. I'm into it. Yeah.
You name checked a few acts last night. You actually said you opened for Deftones. Is that?
I did.
That's true.
I actually did. Yeah, because we were on the Big Day Out tour, and it's the reason why I opened
the Big Day Off.
Yeah, Big Day Off. Oh my God, it's the best. It's the best tour. It's so good.
R.I.P. Big Day.
I know. Yeah. It's too bad. I'm sorry. I mean, they tried, but then some gross promoter ruined it. But so I met the Deftones there, and I was a huge fan of theirs. I used a piece of their music in one of my theater pieces, and I met them, and they're like the sweetest guys ever. And Stefan, the guitar player, is the guy I kind of like was my main guy or whatever. But yeah, I ended up opening for them, and I think I played the Forum. I opened for Edward Sharpe. That same reason I was on Big Day Out, and they had side gigs, and they were like, "You want to open for us?" So it was cool. It was great.
Yeah, that must be an unusual experience. I mean, there you are. You're out there. You're warming up the audience. They're having a bit of a chuckle when you're on, and suddenly the Deftones were, like nice guys, but very sullen in their music. Come on, the entire mood for the audience must change.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to be a little bit more hardcore, when I was opening. So I tried my best to do kind of harder beats with simulating guitars and stuff, and then screaming vocals. So that was fun, and it was cool to use the energy of the crowd and what they're there to see to kind of do something with that instead of just, here's my normal thing that I do. So that was fun. That was good to kind of adapt. And I loved watching the Deftones. I think I saw them probably 7 times.
Wow.
Like during that tour. They're incredible. And Chino is just an insane performer. It's amazing. I don't know how he has that much energy.
And that sort of leads to all the collaborations that you've done. Jonas Policewoman was a particularly interesting one recently.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How'd that call come through?
I'm trying to remember how she got a hold of me. I think just mutual friends in the music community in Brooklyn. She's a total sweetheart. She's amazing, and I really, really dug her music when she was like, "Hey, do you want to do this thing?" And she sent me some links, and I'm like, "Oh, well, you're incredibly talented. Of course, I'd love to do something." And yeah, she's awesome. She's just got a great spirit. She made me this. She's like, what do you want to get paid for doing these songs? I was like, I don't want to get paid anything. I just had like great time. She's like, well, it must be something. And when I was in Montana, my best friend John had gotten a hold of coconut butter that had THC in it. So it was like really concentrated THC coconut butter. And I was like, well, I had some of that maybe. And she's like, I don't know how to make that. And then like 2 days later, she like comes over to my house and she brings this gigantic mason jar. It's just like a beautiful light green, and it's so powerful that I've used maybe a teaspoon of it, and we're talking about a jar maybe that tall, about that big around, and I've barely used any of it. So I'm like, well, thanks, Joan, for giving me literally a lifetime supply. But she's awesome, man. She's great, and it was fun doing videos with her and stuff, and Joseph Arthur and stuff. It was great.
Now, when we were talking a few weeks ago, you said that you were about to start working with flight facilities.
That's right. Yes.
Did you do that?
Yeah. We made a track called Sunshine, and we shot a video for it maybe 4 weeks ago in LA. And yeah, I enjoyed working with them. They went to, it was weird. The studio that I use in Brooklyn is called Ground Control. And so it's like flight facilities and ground control. And and we did the song, and I just kind of improvised stuff and kind of came up with a hook and just wrote it out real quick. And, we all kind of like decided, oh yeah, that's good. And then I just went in and sang. It was really fun, easy, half day thing. But yeah, they're great to work with, and I was a huge fan of Crave You. Obviously it's an amazing song. But I liked that whole remix. They had like a remix. It was like 10 or 11 remixes of Crave You, all these different producers, and I loved every single version of it. I was very rare, but yeah, cool cats, man.
Yeah, and an Australian act as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, very Australian. Yeah, young guys, cool cats. Yeah, one of them is. One of them, I can't remember which one, is in Sydney right now. So when I get there, I'll just text both of them and see which one. But yeah, so that'll be good, and maybe see what they're up to and where they hang out and stuff like that. Would be kind of fun.
Yeah, I think there was quite a funny piece where you were name checking Crowded House last night.
Oh yeah. I'd say that they're Australian.
Yeah. Actually, technically, they aren't Australian because Crowded House formed in Melbourne with 2 Australians. So it was one Kiwi and 2 Australians. Neil Finn is a Kiwi.
Okay.
Yeah.
But didn't his brother in the band too, wasn't he?
But that was later. That was later. Yeah.
It was later.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were actually living here in Melbourne. They're actually considered a Melbourne band.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, the Crowded House is an insanely amazing band.
Yeah.
Like I grew up listening to Crowded House, when their albums came out in the mid '80s, and they're just some of the best songwriters ever. Like definitely, their melodies are incredible and they're produced really, really well. And I don't know, I had amazing moments of growing up listening to their music, and I still listen to it.
Yeah, one of those, I guess, iconic Australian bands. I guess Neil Finn, as a Kiwi / Australian, because obviously started out in Split Ends. As a New Zealand band, is often compared to Paul McCartney as a songwriter.
Yeah, that's right. And Paul McCartney himself said that he's one of the greatest songwriters. So I was like, that's kind of awesome. That's the reference, but also Paul McCartney tipped his hat to him, which Paul McCartney doesn't do very often, which is a big deal. But yeah, I mean, yeah, genius.
Now, what about your music that we were hearing last night? And when you go and there's the loops and the voice, and are we hearing a unique performance every single time? Do you get up on stage?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, because I don't write anything and I don't have anything prepared. There's definitely types of songs that I might do, like a type of a beat or a type of a bass line. But I'm always trying to do something different than what I did before. I'm always aiming for that. Sometimes I'll do a bass line and I'll be like, that's the same kind of bass line I've done before, and I'll just go with it because I don't want to necessarily restart it. But I'm always, while I'm performing, I'm always trying to do something newish for myself so that the audience can, it's fun for me, but also I want to provide something new for the audience as well.
Yeah. And I guess, discovering sounds every time you do something like that.
Yeah, sometimes there's these beautiful accidents, that I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't know. Oh, it's great. I can do that. And I can reproduce it. And then I add that to the possibilities. So yeah, it's half experiment, half experience.
You've done the rounds of pretty much every talk show in America. There's been Conan, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. Mm-hmm. Is it the same experience each time, or do they have their little unique thing before the show?
I mean, I like with Conan, I kind of exclusively get to do whatever I want to do, which is awesome. And so I'm always aiming to do something crazier than the last time, or just different from the last time. Kimmel, when I did that, it was to promote. It was a cross promotion with Comedy Bang Bang and Ultimate Ears, which was promoting their speaker, the Boom, which actually is my favorite of all the Bluetooth speakers. So it worked out really great. But so that was specifically that. Even though I performed, but it was kind of more geared towards that. And then Fallon was like, it was really kind of the first time that I did television at all. So it was the first time I performed on national television, and they were cool enough to let me improvise, and they didn't, because usually they always like, what are the jokes you're going to do? What are the things? And I was like, I don't have anything to show you. You can look at some videos online, but that's it. You're just going to have to trust that I'm not going to, do terrible things. And so, yeah, so they're all different. Every show's different. And, since Conan has that deal with me, it's not deal, but just like, that's the relationship that we have, that I think other talk shows are like, well, what can we do that's not that? So it's kind of interesting that way.
Did you ever see the Larry Sanders Show?
Yeah. It was no, Curb Your Enthusiasm, but I never saw Larry Sanders.
Larry's, which was about a talk show host, and cool, calm, and collected when they're before the camera, but total chaos happening behind the curtain.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you detect a bit of that when you're at these shows?
A little bit. I mean, I'd say with Fallon, it's pretty mellow. I think they probably hide everybody from the actual mechanics of it. So the people that you deal with are like, "Oh, hi, welcome to the show. Here's the green room." That's what you get, and then you're like, "Oh, 5 minutes till show. Do you want to go to makeup or blah blah?" So that part is kind of, I think, streamlined to make the experience calm and nice. I'm sure they're like a duck in water. It's like the feet are just like going crazy, and you're not really seeing it. But Conan's super chill. Like they're very chill. The whole operation is very chill. I've never sensed, even when we did the tour together. It was never. There were definitely times where people were kind of stressed out, like, "Oh, is this gonna?" Moments, but in general, very, very mellow, very relaxed. And I think it's just because they're all seasoned professionals. They teamed up with an amazing road team that have done massive shows that were, the Conan show was like 1/8 the amount of technicality that they're used to. So it was a piece of cake for them. So it's pretty mellow. Yeah, not too much chaos, although I think that'd be kind of fun to see.
Because I guess it's an enormous amount of content that they have to produce every week and every single day.
Yeah.
Do you have the luxury, because you do improvise your music? Then obviously there's a bit of pressure put on you for that. But how much of the show do you structure before you come out?
You mean like my solo shows? Yeah. I don't structure any of it. I just, I have like zones that I go to. I've got like my center mic, and I've got my little sampling stuff, and then I've got my keyboard, and that's kind of what I know I have. And then I just go out and decide, am I going to talk first? Am I going to do music first? Or what am I going to do? How am I going to enter? That's kind of it. I don't really plan too much. I just kind of wait till the last second where they're like, okay, 5 minutes. I'm like, okay. And then you're on, and then I just see what happens. But I like the feeling of not knowing anything and just trying to make something out of nothing. It's more fun for me.
Yeah, well, Australians obviously get it. There's lots of chuckles coming from the crowd last night.
Oh man, it was great. Yeah, it was great. They're a great audience. Seriously, like that was amazing.
Yeah, and we should mention that one of the shows that you're doing here is at the iconic Sydney Opera House.
Oh yes,
For
yeah,
Just for Laughs.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, JFL.
Yeah.
Just for laughs. Yeah, the Opera House. Yeah, but it's weird. I've performed there a bunch of times, which is kind of strange. I hope that my show's in the middle theater, the theater that's like kind of set up like the Forum, where it's like more contemporary looking.
Yeah.
I hope it's that one because the Opera House, like the main house, it's got not the best sound, and its attention is dispersed in many different directions, so it's not very focused. But when I performed last time, I had my show in that little. It was like a 300-person room or something like that. Perfect. One of the most perfect rooms to perform in.
Well, if they do put you in the wrong room, maybe you need to sample a 92-piece orchestra.
Yeah, it's true.
That'll just solve that issue.
Yeah. I'll just like hire a bunch of actors and do an improvised opera. It's like, well, this is all I could do. Sorry, guys.
He laughs, but he's thinking of it. Great to get you back in here. Reggie Watts at noise11.com.
Yeah.